Hello YouTube, Xisuma here with another episode of Xisuma's World. So if you saw the last episode, you'll know what we're going to be doing. If you didn't, we're going to be building a big wheat farm down here. So I'm going to be hollowing out this whole area and it's going to take a lot of time, so I thought what better way to do it than with a time lapse. So there we go. That took me about an hour to do, and it gave me a lot of time to think about the wheat farm. But first of all, there's a bunch of jobs that I want to do. One of them is sorting out the ceiling. As you can see where the glass is, there's a block behind it, and on this bit here there isn't, and I like how it looks there more. So I need to go up and basically clean all of the surface around the glass up the top, and as well as that I need to work on the walls in here. And I want to continue with these pillars, and I'm going to have to build a few more on the sides, so there's actually quite a bit more digging to do. And up there I need to tidy up that part and put in the stone bricks and the sandstone above, and I also want to make that as a wall going all the way up to where the lapis and glowstone is. And then I need to do the same thing with the pillars going around these sides and figure out how I want that to look. And I was thinking that might involve doing a lot of digging again and I don't know, but we'll take it one thing at a time. The first thing that I want to do is go up there and tidy up all of that side. I finished working on this wall and I put in some detail that probably won't get seen again, but yeah, we've got these types of blocks here and then the creeper face ones in between, and that just lines up with the glowstone and lapis. And yeah, that goes all the way across. I've put in the blocks below and the stone blocks, stone bricks as well. And at the corner here, what I plan on doing is putting a glowstone block just there, and if you can see, it gets lost on this side, so we can't see it from the outside because of the way I've laid it out. So I'm just going to put glowstone on these corner blocks so we can see it from up above, and then it will light up the corner as well. So I'm swimming up now. We're going to have a look from above. And yeah, that looks really good, nice and clean and tidy now, which I really like. So now that this top part's done, I think we should continue doing this side of the wall, and I want to continue with these sandstone pillars going downwards, and then I want to focus on getting in some nice lighting down the sides as well. So there's a lot to think about as I do this, so I'll probably give you some updates as I'm making it. I've realised it's not as simple as just putting the pillars in. I've overlooked the fact that we need to put in the pathways to get down here. So what I think I want to do is have a nice slope coming down the side here to this part here, and that'll be a path, and then it'll go into the wall and lead down to the middle, and then both pathways will have the same thing on either side. We'll meet up at the middle here, and that'll be the entrance to the wheat room. After seeing how this looks, I don't think I'm going to go with the pathways going down the side. I did consider something else, which was for the pathways to come to the balcony here and then go down this middle bit, and would remove the utility area, but then the chests are going to be in the way of doing that. So what I think I'm going to do is have the balcony here as normal, and then have the pathways come through here. I don't know whereabouts they're going to go, but I'll figure that out after, because there'll be plenty of space to make a pathway down to the bottom. As you can see, I've made quite a few changes here. I've done a lot of work on the wall, and we've used netherrack so we can have fire for lighting, and I'm really happy with how it looks, but there are some aesthetical problems here. So first of all, I feel like the room is actually too deep, and I think it needs to be raised by about 3 or 4 blocks, and it just feels like these columns are too long for the size of the room in terms of width. So the other problem is with this balcony that I've made out of glass, and it just extends out from the wall, and it just kind of looks ugly from down there, I think, and it doesn't really look too great up here as well. And I'm thinking of removing the utility area, perhaps putting a feature here, or continuing with the netherrack fire lighting, or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, what I'll probably do is put either a small balcony just here, or even cover all of this up with glass. And as well as that, you can see the blocks here are missing, and they're missing on the other side as well, and this is because the fire causes them to catch on fire. So I'm waiting until they introduce half slabs for these types of blocks, and then we'll be able to put them in and they won't catch on fire. So I'll probably just fill them up with cobblestone, or maybe just regular wood half slabs for now. I decided to do the smart thing and not fill in the floor straight away, but I've removed the bottom 3 blocks over here, and right now we're standing 3 blocks above the floor, and we can get a good idea of what the room's going to look like if we just imagine that the floor's in place, and I think it looks a lot better like that. And the reason I decided not to fill in the floor was because I do want to do some redstoney stuff with the wheat farm, and that probably means putting the wiring underneath. So it seems silly to place all the cobblestone down before we really needed to, and then have to remove it all later. So what I've been doing is sorting out how we're going to get down to the bottom, and this is going to be the staircase we're going to use. It's going to go round the corner like this and meet up with the same thing from the other side, and then it's going to go down the middle here, and it needs to drop down another 4 blocks and then go out to the entrance to the wheat room. So as well as that, this utility area here, I think I'm going to move and have one on either side on this wall here, and that'll include maybe a brewing stand and some other things as well. And then this way we'll have the access to the redstone room, so all I've got to do now is build it all. I've made a lot of progress, and this place is really starting to come together now. First of all, I've removed the glass balcony and replaced it with this glass wall, which gives us a nice view of the wheat farm, and it also looks really good from down there as well. And I've been working on the stairs here. First of all, we were talking about having the utility area around here, but I've moved that, and also the entrance to the redstone room I was originally going to put here, but then this pumpkin block gets in the way, and that's part of the shearing bay. So I'm going to have to make the door here instead. And I've moved the utility area to this bit here, and I haven't finished building it. And this corridor looks really nice, except it feels a little bit narrow, so I'm going to make it one block wider. And as you can see here, I've used some water to bring some blue into the room, which I really like as well. And then this part of the corridor I haven't finished, still working on that, struggling with the roof a little bit. And then if we come out here, yeah, I think it's going to look really nice like this, and it's going to look so much better with the room not being as deep. I've just realised that if we're to make this 3 wide, then these blocks are going to be over here and the jack-o'-lantern is going to be in the way. So I gave it some thought about removing it, and if we come up here, we can't actually see the jack-o'-lantern at all. So if we remove it, the only thing that's going to be lost is the way it lights up the water. So we could remove the one, I think, and that would be fine. We could make this wider, but then we could also remove the one after and then have our doorway here as well. But that means there'd be even less light here, and that might make it more noticeable. So depending on how it looks, I might then move the entrance to the redstone room back to this part here. The corridor is now 3 wide, which does look a lot better. And I haven't done anything with the utility area yet. I'm saving that for a little bit later when I have some more ideas. And I finished this little corridor here as well. I've used stone bricks because I plan on using a lot of them in this room around these walls. And as well as that, I have fixed the roof here. I wasn't sure what to do for it, and then I just noticed that if we continued the slope that I had here, I only had these 2 blocks. We continued it all the way up to the top, it kind of matched up with this bit, so it seemed like the right thing to do. I didn't want to overuse the material, but it really doesn't look too bad, so I'm going to keep that. So the next thing to do was start work on the wheat farm, and I decided to do most of this off camera because it was a lot of trial and error. I had to keep placing the water in different places and trying different things, and it took quite a lot of time. But what I've done is place the water in the walls so that it can be hidden by sticky pistons, and when the water flows out there should be no dead spots, and it all flows to a single point, which is right here. And it even flows around the corner, except sometimes the items will get caught, and yeah, they'll sit there, which isn't too much of a problem, but maybe it's something I can fix later on. So the next thing that I want to do is put in those pistons to control the water, and then we can test and see that when we use the pistons to extend the water out, that there's still no dead spots. And I also forgot to mention that, as I said earlier in the video, I didn't fill in the space underneath all this dirt, and that's going to be quite useful to make a redstone room. And then I realised that I didn't have an entrance to that room, so I spent quite a while thinking about it, and then yeah, it's quite obvious we got some space right here. And we can't use this one because there's the netherrack with the fire the other side of that, so our entrance to the redstone room for the wheat farm is going to be these 2 sides. I've wired up all of the pistons, and these stone blocks are covering the water source blocks, and it's all wired up to this lever here. So when we hit it, the water flows out to the lowest point, meaning that it doesn't cover all of the blocks like it did before. Now I have a solution to this, and if some of you have seen Sokar's LPs or his tutorial on his wheat farm, what he did was, at a block like this one here where the water ends, he would have a piston underneath that would retract that block and allow the water to flow down. Now the reason he did this was because when the water extends over like it does there onto the block below, it's going to destroy whatever crops are planted on it. So by doing this, when the piston was pulled down, the crops that were already on it had been harvested, so then the water would flow without breaking any crops. So that's what I want to do here, and I'm going to go around and find all of the spots where the water extends over and drops down, and I'm going to replace them with sticky pistons underneath so that we can control when they retract downwards, and that way the water should spread and cover all of the dirt blocks. So I've been busy in the redstone room implementing this extended piston setup that Sokar designed, and if I hit the lever now, you'll see that all the water will flow out and cover all of the dirt blocks. So this means we can harvest all of the crops. And now we'll go take a look at the redstone room, and it's pretty messy in there, and I think it's going to get a lot messier, but I'll explain why in a moment. So first of all, that block there is the lever we have to activate the water, so that goes all the way over here, and it goes down under there to avoid conflicting with this wiring, and then it powers this block and it goes all the way around the side. So one of the things I've actually added are these delays on the repeaters, so the water, the pistons get activated one by one, so the water spreads slightly slower as it comes round to this side. Now the rest of this is as you can see, the pistons pushing up the dirt. So what we're going to do is turn all of these off, and it's really simple. Okay, that's drawing power from somewhere. Oh, I think it's drawing power from itself. Let's just double check that. And there it is. Yeah, I missed that one. Okay, might have that problem over here as well. Yeah, it's powering itself again, okay. Okay, I've fixed the wiring over here so it doesn't power itself as well. And now we've turned off all of those extending pistons. The water's going to flow, yeah, like that all the way to the centre here. Now the one thing we're going to have trouble with, as you can see we've got two dead spots here, is I think we need to do the same thing again for these ones at the bottom here. These overflowing ones here will destroy the crops underneath them, which we don't want. We want to be able to plant them on every single block. So I'm going to have to do that as well, and that's probably going to be another wiring nightmare because it's quite compact down in the redstone room. Okay, an enderman spawned in here. Oh, I looked at it. Yeah, but he's got a dirt block and I couldn't quite figure out where from. Come on, you're going to come over here. But anyway, it reminded me of something, that we need to have lighting in this room, and we can put lights on the wall like the netherrack and the torches, and that'll be sufficient to light the edges, but in the middle here we're going to have dark patches. So I have already given this some thought, and what I'd probably have done if the roof was different would have some fence posts hanging down and create a chandelier or something along those lines with glowstone, but because we've got a glass roof that's going to look really odd in my opinion. So what I'm thinking we might do is sacrifice some space where we would plant crops and put some glowstone in the ground here, or possibly redstone lamps because I like how they look a lot better, or even pumpkins, jack-o'-lanterns even. I've now finished adding in the extra pistons for the lower part of the farm, and now comes the horrible task where I have to make all of this link up together in this limited amount of space. So what I'm going to be doing is, first of all, I've run our input now goes underground, so up there's the block that we power with the lever, and then that can turn on or off this dust which passes the signal down using the torches. So that wire runs all the way to the back, all the way over here. So when it gets to this point here, we're going to activate all of the water, and then I need to create a timer circuit, and I'm not sure where I'm going to fit that in, but maybe somewhere around here. And then once the water has gone far enough that it will be where these are extended by default, then that timer is going to activate all of the first group of pistons, which are the ones on this level, and they're going to come down and the water's going to extend all the way out to where these pistons are, and these will be extended. So then I need another timer that comes after that then controls these group of pistons, and then that way when we hit the lever we're going to be activating the water first, then these pistons, then these ones, and the water should all flow down to the center. And yeah, it turns out the wiring for this was actually quite simple, so it didn't take me too long to do this, and it almost works. We've still got a couple of little problems, but let's see it in action. So the water flows out, and when it reaches the blocks you can see they retract, and then the same thing happens at the end here. but there's a problem with the timing down the bottom here. I can't seem to get it quite right, and I've still got a few ideas on how to do it. But as you can see, we get these water source blocks and dead spots and water flowing in the wrong directions. So I'm not going to fix that straight away. Hopefully I'll be able to fix it later in this episode, or maybe another one. But I really want to get on with completing the rest of this room now. Before we start work on the rest of the room, I thought I'd show you how the redstone works. So when we activate the lever for the water, we're also going to activate all of these pistons as well. So that lever controls the water system, which is all this wiring at the back of the room. And then this signal here we use, as you can see, we've got the repeaters on full delay, so that gives some timing, and then that goes over here to the first set of pistons. And then they branch off to the ones either side, and yeah, it just keeps branching around with pistons adding for delay. And then when it goes to the last bit at the bottom here, we've got this big row of repeaters here to add a bigger delay. And yeah, it's really quite simple. I don't know why I thought it'd be more difficult than that. So anyway, let's get back to building the rest of the room. I've spent a really long time looking at these walls now, and I don't really have any ideas for what I want to do with them. So I took a little bit of inspiration from these mine shafts that were just under the surface here, and I was thinking of maybe using those wooden planks and fence posts. So I built this over here, and yeah, the sand's kind of being held up by the mine shaft, and that's kind of what was happening around this area anyway. So I do like it, but I don't think it will work going the whole way around, so I'm going to leave it at that for the walls. And we're running out of episode time as it is, so perhaps we can just finish this off another time. So what I've also done is put in these jack-o'-lanterns, so now all of the dirt is lit up, and I've also made the pathways down to the redstone room. And what I've done here is just a transition from the sandstone to stone bricks and then to smooth stone, and I'm definitely not going to do anything fancy down here. I'm just going to leave it how it is. So there's one more thing that we need to do, and that is harvest the crops. Yeah, some of you have probably been screaming at me the whole episode. I totally forgot to hydrate the dirt so we can make it farmland. And in fact, this thing has been fun to do, but there's been a lot of problems with it, and I've been really rushed for time this week to make this episode, and I kind of rushed ahead into building this. So at some point I'm going to come back and fix all the problems with this, but I'll probably do most of that off camera, since you've seen pretty much what we go through to make this thing happen. So yeah, I've added a ton. If you can just see there's some water under that block. I've added tons of water all over the place, and the entire back row is perfect. Every block is hydrated. Actually, that might not be right. I think there's one block somewhere that isn't, and everywhere else it's all hydrated apart from this patch of blocks here. And yeah, it's just too far away from anywhere that I can place water, which is quite disappointing. But I will fix that at some point, and I was hoping to have a full harvest to show you as well, but I just didn't quite have enough seeds. But yeah, it works. I've been testing it, and yeah, let's harvest. So yeah, you can see the game gets quite a bit laggy about now. And yeah, another thing I've discovered is that there is more dead spots than I realised. So we can see they're going to the ones down here, which are still trying to fix. The other problem is they get caught on the side over there, and that can be easily fixed by removing these stairs as well. And let's pick these up. And let's turn that off. So yeah, there you go. You can see that there's some over there. So what we're going to do is actually go over there when the water's there. And yeah, you can see that it now flows into this corner here, and that's something that I just happened to miss. And I think I might be able to fix it. And I think my inventory is also full. Yes, it is. So anyway, yeah, a bit of a rushed episode in a way. I felt like I perhaps should have taken more time to consider how to build this farm. So I will come back here and fix it all at some point and show you it when it's all done. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.